On this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq, Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice meets with Iraqi officials in Baghdad, and the Air Force's Reaper bombs an enemy target. These stories and more on today's FJI. Hello, I'm Airman First Class Priscilla Christensen. Welcome to this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice made a stop in Baghdad to meet with Iraq's Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki and other top Iraqi officials to discuss ongoing negotiations towards a status of forces agreement between the U.S. and Iraq.
What we're trying to do is to put together an agreement that protects our people, that respects Iraqi sovereignty, that allows us to lay the kind of foundation that we need for making certain that we complete the work that we've all sacrificed so greatly to see accomplished, and that work is being accomplished. But the goal is to have Iraqi forces responsible for the security of Iraq. That is the goal.
Secretary Rice also said the negotiators are working on a, quote, advanced agreement, because she says it entails a different kind of relationship between the U.S. and Iraq and a different set of circumstances the negotiators face. Secretary Rice also pointed out there is no deadline on the SOFA, but says they hope to reach an agreement very soon. The Air Force's MQ-9 Reaper proved it is combat capable during an airstrike against an anti-Iraqi target. The Reaper dropped a 500-pound bomb on a vehicle-borne IED, which marks the Reaper's first weapons engagement in Iraq since it began flying combat sorties in mid-July. Petty Officer Aaron Hebner tells us how the MQ-9 Reaper, formerly known as the Predator B, is protecting soldiers on the ground.
In July of 2008, the Air Force began flying the new MQ-9 Reaper over Iraq. The Reaper can be flown over combat zones for long periods of time, providing persistent intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, or ISR, operations.
The MQ-9 Reaper is a perfect platform for a lot of the work that we're doing here in Iraq. It provides a ISR capability for long duration, and yet it is still armed enough so that we can prosecute and do the things we need to do on the ground to help integrate with the Army.
The Reaper's design has evolved from the combat-proven Predator, but it's a very different machine. With a 66-foot wingspan, the Reaper is roughly the size of an A-10 attack aircraft. Its payload capacity is 3,000 pounds and makes it more of a hunter-killer than a killer scout, as was the Predator. All of this while minimizing the amount of airmen needed in the combat zone.
We will deploy a small forward team to launch and recover the aircraft, to maintain it, to arm it, to do the things that you have to do with an aircraft physically. But when we start flying the long duration missions, the 16-hour missions or so, a lot of that can be done from back in the United States.
The MQ-9 Reaper can fly up to 300 miles per hour and reach altitudes of 50,000 feet. Petty Officer Aaron Hebner, Baghdad.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in southern Iraq are working to complete construction on the $164 million Basra Children's Hospital. It's the only cancer treatment center of its kind in the country. And as Petty Officer Patrick Dilley tells us, the project is drawing international attention.
In addition to U.S. contract work, the Corps has managed $22 million worth of United Nations Development Program contracts funded by the Spanish government for construction outside the main hospital building.
That's definitely been unique for us, and that's what's kind of opened my eyes to other people in this region that are also looking to help.
The construction team has experienced some setbacks during their quest to finish, mainly when the Iraqi Army's Operation Charge of the Nights purged criminal militias from Basra earlier this year. Construction ground to a halt and fell behind schedule by more than a month.
But in spite of that, we think that this project will be a success. We know it already is. We think it will be a further success, not only for the Ministry of Health that will operate the facility, but for the children that are going to be treated.
The potential for such success lies in the power flowing from the new diesel generators, clean water from new pumps, 500 patient and treatment rooms spread over the 2 floors. It's the potential of this hospital that keeps construction crews coming back until the last bit of plaster is finally spread.
And at the very end of this, it's turned out to be a well-oiled machine. A lot of work has to be done still to complete it, but everybody's charging ahead to get this done for that reason, because they know that this will benefit the children in not just southern Iraq, but all of Iraq.
Construction is slated to finish late this year with a partial opening sometime between March and May. The full opening remains undetermined as hospital administrators continue to source and train qualified staff members. Petty Officer Patrick Dilley, Basra, Iraq.
Coming up, how soldiers create obstacles to stop enemy traffic.
Here's your raid report. Policemen from the Iraqi National Police discovered a munitions cache in the Rashid district of southern Baghdad. The cache consisted of rockets, mortar rounds, and grenades. Coalition forces detained 13 suspected terrorists in central Iraq. One of the detainees is believed to directly conspire with a senior al-Qaeda in Iraq leader who operates in the Salah ad-Din and Nineveh provinces. Muqdadia's Special Weapons and Tactics team detained 4 suspected terrorists in separate operations in the area. One of the suspects is said to be the primary leader of a cell, and another is said to be an intelligence officer. U.S. soldiers arrested 2 criminals and discovered weapons in the Rashid district of southern Baghdad. One of the individuals had a pistol, bulletproof vest, multiple false identification cards, and anti-Iraqi propaganda. And that's your raid report. I'm Petty Officer Patrick Dilley.
We are at war, and risks lurk around every corner. Whether you're off-duty or in the field, minimizing unnecessary risk is vital to your mission. Wear the proper safety gear, follow the proper safety procedures, make appropriate risk decisions so you can put your efforts where they're needed most. Check it. What gets checked gets done.
Combat engineers in Iraq spend a lot of time clearing roadways of improvised explosive devices. Army Sergeant Kyle Flieger tells us about an Army unit with the opportunity to cause some explosions of their own.
Multinational Division Baghdad soldiers recently helped make it a little harder for insurgents to move weapons around Iraq. Service members of the 2nd Stryker Brigade Combat Team, 25th Infantry Division, created obstacles which will prevent the enemy from crossing a canal. A platoon leader from the 66th Engineer Company, 1st Lieutenant Christopher Blackburn, says the mission gave his soldiers an opportunity to do something new.
Gives us an excellent training opportunity. It's always good to vary the mission set and let the younger guys get the experience with the demolitions that some of the more senior NCOs are very proficient with.
The demolition came about from intelligence gathered after an IED attack in early July. Reporting for the 2nd SBCT, 25th ID, MNDB, I'm Army Sergeant Kyle Flieger, Nasir Wassalam, Iraq.
Partnerships between U.S. and Iraqi forces are essential to missions on and off the battlefield. Sergeant First Class Damian Steptor explains.
After being deployed for only 1 month, the 1st Cavalry Division's 4th Brigade Combat Team, along with soldiers from the 54th Engineering Battalion, are partnered with Iraqi engineers to improve the new forward operating base Gary Owen.
But we're committed, and every day conditions are improving.
One of the engineers, Private First Class Kyle Ferguson, says he enjoys working with his Iraqi counterparts.
It's building a relationship, so they do for you, you do for them, and they enjoy working for us, and we enjoy them having to work.
Ferguson and the rest of his unit are working with the Iraqis in the province of Amara to build a new base and use the location for stopping weapon smuggling on the eastern border of southern Iraq.
The soldiers of Gary Owen, just like everyone else here in the brigade, is to partner with the 38th Brigade of the 10th Iraqi Army Division, partner and professionalize.
Reporting for Long Night Public Affairs, I'm Sergeant First Class Damian Steptor, Camp Adder, Iraq.
And that wraps up this edition of our program. Be sure to log on to mnf-iraq.com, where you can learn all about the progress coalition forces are making throughout the country. If you have story ideas, we'd love to hear them. Just email us at fji@iraq.cencom.mil. From all of us here at AFN and Freedom Journal Iraq, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.